already pretty much know that Rome was slime, a snake, from day one. I mean, we should have never even given him an opportunity. Never trust a dude who's always wearing silk shirts and sniffs coke. It's probably a pimp. Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss P-Valley. Now this is season 2, episode 5, White Nights. Now before we get into all things fairy tales, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss Mississippi. Goddamn Keyshawn, this episode, she was going through it, wasn't she? Didn't we just want her to kill Derrick this episode? I did.
Go back.
Now that you guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me, let's get into this episode. Now right away we get into this ethereal Cinderella Snow White ass narration courtesy of Uncle Clifford, who was fucking it up and setting the mood for us to go back, way back, and get to know Keyshawn a whole lot better. And immediately right away, this is where the energy switched with Rome for me. For the most part, we have seen Keyshawn pretty much making decisions for herself, but in this moment, she's ready to get off a tour, ready to go see her kids. We have Rome telling her, well, what you gonna do is go out here and get this money. It was very a pimp named Slickback, Bishop Magic Don Juan. Like, excuse me, what do you mean you talked to my husband already? You are making decisions for my life without me. That was number one. But that's when we get into what I feel like Rome has been doing this entire time, tempting her with things that she might be able to have so he could eventually pimp her the fuck out. We're getting into this wig line, you know, we had the lash line, and later we get into some other fuckery. This has been a whole plan. We fell for the banana in a tailpipe. I can say all the way back from season 1, I don't think any of us ever trusted Rome. But what I can say, I thought that they maybe had an understanding, you know, hey, we trying to get this money together, but he was being used just as much as she was using him for his connections. But I never thought that it would go this far. I honestly thought that he did want to sleep with Keyshawn this whole time, because you can really hear these undertones in his voice whenever he talks about her. Yeah, you know, I managed that chocolate thing, and he's just been enamored of her this entire time. Then we get into all the love and hip hop, a love not all up and through this episode. The strippers was in the house. We saw Jessica Dime, Miami Tip, Jocelyn Hernandez. Do it like it's your birthday, baby. Do it like it's your beat. Every time he come around, I ride it like a cowgirl. Hey, love me some Jocelyn. Hey, man, I see you got on your maid outfit like you always do. Loved it. She got on stage, did what needed to be done, and introduced Keyshawn. Now let's just spend a second on Keyshawn's performance. Every single time Keyshawn or Mercedes gets on a pole, it's absolutely mesmerizing, the shit that they are able to do. Like, whoever the stunt people are, freaking amazing. We also spent like 2 seconds over there with Lil Murder and Big T. We have Lil Murder feeling some type of way. Once again, where is my stuff? You couldn't put me on that stage. You couldn't help me out. I'm like, Lil Murder, after this episode, you might want to back up off of that nigga, because clearly he was expecting all of that shit back in return. And then you get into Big T over there. Big T is still steaming from, nigga, you ain't never wrote me no postcard. Like, you are not checking for me. You clearly have some real strong feelings. This I love you, all of this, now you look good in red on these postcards. To Uncle Clifford, Hoppo, what about me? He is still mad. Awesome. Oh wow, like totally freaked me out. I mean, right on. Cause Toro Shore #1. Derrick is on the cheer squad. We go back, way back, and we get into Keyshawn and why she may be the way she is today. And surprisingly, she is considered the dark, burnt, chicken nugget, ugly girl of the school. Where? It took a whole lot for me to grasp Keyshawn being downplayed as, you know, the ugly one. But, you know, we do have some people just completely fried in the brain who can look at a beautiful girl like Keyshawn and go, oh my God, she's so ugly. She's so dark-skinned. Straight up colorism. We got all up into the colorism in this episode. We also meet Gidget. Gidget's there being Gidget. But we also see and recognize how Derrick and Keyshawn actually found each other. I low-key feel like he targeted her because you kind of see how he was watching her and recognizing that she's really insecure about herself. You know, I can pay her a couple of compliments, do this and that. And then there's just them just being drawn together because they are both broken at that point. So she might be willing to put up and sympathize with some of the fuckery that I have to offer as a person because I too am so damaged. All the red flags in the world. Though he did get spit on, which was absolutely fucked up, you see right away that he has a chip on his shoulder and Derrick is freaking relentless and whooping ass, was not trying to stop. Just like, oh, he's so cute. Like, no, Keyshawn. I literally said about 5 times watching the show, Keyshawn, run. At that point, I was really getting into the show and really amazed at how they were able to go this ethereal fairy tale route with this narration from Clifford, which was just the cherry on top. It was really creative here. We get into different scenarios at Derrick being that white knight for Keyshawn and why she has held on for his trifling ass for this long. She literally has nobody. When we got into those goddamn wicked stuff, even though they weren't wicked, they really weren't checking for her, they were more wicked towards each other. And there's that whole combativeness of the sister Alicia being popular, you know, fair skin, she's really good at dance. We got Keyshawn, she's not as acrobatic. You really get into why Keyshawn fucks it up on the pole the way that she does, because for so long she was told that she was not that girl, and in that moment of being on that stage and all that praise that she has been getting, she is that fucking girl now. But you see all the colorism that's taking place. You see the favoritism between the wicked stepmother with her horrible acting, where the acting got real questionable when Keyshawn burned Lil Mama. I should have never trusted you with something so precious. Like, oh, why do y'all always have to do that to go country? Like, relax. But you see that she is just being treated just whack as fuck. And me, you know, my good Cinderella fairy tale watching ass, I'm assuming since we're going this route, first I was like, Keyshawn came from money? Keyshawn, people got money? Like, what? I'm not putting 2 and 2 together. How did she wind up here? With that, I'm like, okay, the money was left to the wicked stepmother. She, you know, threw Keyshawn by the wayside and just focused her attention on her 2 daughters. Absolutely not. Keyshawn's dad is very much so alive and well and there. And a pervert? Oh, Keyshawn. There was so much to be said about those girls heading off to prom and him gripping Alicia's side. I love how we had Uncle Clifford speak on that moment of, you know, hey, you shouldn't really be jealous, you know, thinking somebody's life is some way. She may be Miss Popular and Miss this, but she is suffering on the inside. You know, she gives good head in the bathroom and your own damn father is clearly being predatory towards her. I'm like, what kind of shit is this? And then we have her own mother pretty much settling for it because of what she's getting. Oh, he has the money. We met on the plane. He kissed my hand. I gave him a drink. Did you forget that my mama was there? I was like, once again, elaborate. Keyshawn, where's your mom? Where's your mom? You are going the Cinderella route, but only so much. Where is your mother? You didn't say she passed away and, you know, he was a widow and they got together. No, bitch, you stole my daddy from my mother. Where is she? You need some help, baby. You just get that feeling of where else was Keyshawn supposed to go. Derrick was literally the only person there in that moment who was in her corner. Granted, in my opinion, he recognized that hurt in her and saw an opportunity to take advantage of her. We're getting into this whole ethereal fairy tale route and he's this white knight and they got together and it was innocent. No, I think Derrick felt like ain't nobody else gonna put up with this shit. Nobody else in that school that Keyshawn had just arrived at was checking for Derrick. it's kind of like they low-key saw him as a creep. And then he has this really toxic relationship with his family. You could see right away with the black guy, and that his father has a problem with him being a cheerleader. And yeah, I got a scholarship. We got money, but I got a scholarship, just so my people know. Somebody told your raggedy ass, nigga, I ain't paying for you to go cheer. That's not manly. He already had, some odds stacked against him already, and he was coming from an abusive, broken ass home. And the apple didn't really fall very, very far from the tree at all. And he has been my white knight this entire time. He beat some boys up who were picking on me. He rescued me in the rain. He took me out. But haha, Keyshawn was very adamant. I mean, this isn't a date. I can never date him. Look at all these black people in this restaurant. I won't. But who is showing up here when I have nobody? I have a very distant, perverse ass father. I have this wicked ass stepmother and these two sisters that are getting all the attention in a school full of boys who thinks I'm a burnt chicken nugget. I'm gonna go with the boy coming to the door, bringing me a beautiful dress and some shoes and giving me my Cinderella moment. Sadly, the stepmom knew exactly what this was and had already peeped game, but she was too busy being in her own way to protect or even warn Keyshawn in the right way. But hell, she's willing to sacrifice her own daughters for the liberties of whatever Keyshawn's dad can afford. Ugh. She wasn't protecting them. She damn sure wasn't gonna do nothing for Keyshawn. Now, at that point, we do have a small interlude from Jocelyn Hernandez. And after watching it a second time, I was like, oh, that was the purpose of, her sliding her card and telling Keyshawn, hey, any way you look at it, everybody's gonna always look at us like we are hoes. They're always gonna look like you're a hoe. And she's like, you want me to come dance? She's just like, no, a bad bitch just wanna talk to another bad bitch. I feel like she was trying to warn her about Rome. As we can see throughout the episode, Keyshawn is very, very book smart. And I love the way that they allowed her to flex throughout this episode. It's just like, no. If we do this type of deal, I'm only gonna get this type of percentage. Oh, this is the lace front? That's not really good material. Well, why would we invest in this shoe? Everybody wears wigs. Like, she is all that in a bag of chips on that front. Now, when we get into the character as far as judging a man for what he is or may not be, Keyshawn is absolutely lost in that area, and we can see why. Look at her upbringing and the type of father that she had. She keeps surrounding herself with these fucking users and snakes like Rome, putting all her trust in him. When in the end, there was never a Jocelyn Hernandez party to go to. Rome was trying to use that opportunity to turn Keyshawn out and take her to that sex party that we saw later and present her as his fresh meat. He was trying to turn Keyshawn out. Baking soda. I got baking soda. Hey, I'm in love with the cocoa. Gave us some of that good OT Genesis. I was having a good ass time at that part in the episode. I love how we got the transitions and the parallels between the black ass dance and the white dance. We got the waltz and we got the twerk down. It was a good time, but you can see that Keyshawn is absolutely on cloud 9 and she is really enjoying Derrick's company. And then we get like red flag number 17. His racist mom coming over like, you just gonna kiss this black girl right up in here? Like, Keyshawn, get out of there. And instead of like running away, she sees something in Derrick and it's just like, oh, he's hurting like I am, like you're being abused and maybe we can save each other. And they embark on a sexual encounter, which leads to their very first baby. And I was like, what? This is a very short time span for where their relationship is. Keyshawn, the pink. I'm like, you mean to tell me it's only been 3 years of Derrick? Really? Girl, it's still time enough for you to get the fuck out. I thought so much time had went by from their high school years to the Keyshawn that we have now. Keyshawn's oldest is 3. It's been 3 years? It's a change? Keyshawn, get the fuck out of there. But she absolutely does not. And we have to sit through transitions of her getting choked the fuck out, carrying their first child. And when I tell you, I was all kind of pissed off and all kind of just I was like, oh. We saw it coming from a mile away. The both of them are completely ostracized from their families, especially Derrick. They've cut him off. You've got this black girl pregnant. Go fend for yourself. They're in this, this home. Got that good old hood sheet on the window. Y'all know about that sheet on the window. It's a curtain. It's a curtain. But he is just really resentful. And in that moment, he calls her, oh, I got this. Like, I don't even know what the hell he said. I heard nigger bitch. I don't know. Probably didn't say that. But with that dynamic, I'm like, oh, but you thought he was so above him saying what Diamond said he said about you as the mother of his children. Like, girl, this shit has been going on. And the fact that he was choking her out while she was pregnant, that lets you know right away he didn't value you or value your child's life. So when we get that bullshit that we get in the end, it's to be expected. Keyshawn should have walked away a long time ago, but it just really shows how it affects you when you have nobody. Nobody ever told you were worth anything as a person, as a daughter, as a woman, and you gravitated towards this piece of shit. Now, it was not all heartbreak hotels and abuse and just us getting pissed off. We got some goddamn comedic relief courtesy of Lil Murder and Big T. Nigga, I said I don't want no fucking strawberry. Like, he be like this close to popping off on everybody. But when we have Woddy and Keyshawn acknowledge, like, these niggas fucking, like, yeah, man, I think these niggas, I tell you, I fell the fuck out. That shit was so funny. And at that very moment, I just started to look at Woddy a little sideways. I was like, I never noticed just how deep Woddy's voice is. Like, oh. I was like really peeping when we had Woddy, like, you know, hey, like, I don't like your hair like that. I like the hair that grows out of your head. I was like, okay, Woddy. He just had a different type of energy this episode. Normally, I don't pay Woddy any kind of attention, but he just had a little extra bounce this episode. Even when we get into the whole dynamic of, which I'm so upset it took me so long to realize it, we have Lil Murder once again, like, oh, you got the keys and the rooms. It's like, yeah, y'all not coming to the party. I'm sick of y'all using me. You need to talk to your manager. Y'all would have been at the Super 8. And I'm like, Lil Woddy is very business savvy and smart in the sense of, you know, hey, why are we trying to live lavish and, you know, have champagne, chocolate covered strawberries and these beautiful rooms? Somebody has to pay for it. And up until that very moment, I didn't realize, you know, who's paying for it? Like, y'all not really just bringing all that much money in on, like, is this all, like, this is on somebody. And most of the time, if this is this kind of relationship, this shit comes out of the artist's pocket. This ain't coming off of your shit, wrong. Like, so what? I was like, oh, this entire time, Woddy's like, we'll get to all that later. Right now, we are grinding. And I love how much he rides for Lil Murder, and can't nobody tell him different. Sadly, this is when we get into the fuckery that comes from Rome. He finally shows his true colors and what he wanted from Keyshawn all along and how he really felt about her. I love that even though he tried to trick her and degrade her, trap her, even came with the blackmail. He has had a camera, you know, been watching. We saw that he's been really suspicious of Lil Murder this entire time. But to bug the room and capture a video and try to use that they instantly made him the slimiest of the slimy. I love that even though he was doing his best to degrade her, you ain't nothing but a hoe, you ain't, like, no. I'm the reason you have a job. Like, I do what I do on stage, you know, I mesmerize, I make people think, you know, hey, they could, but you could never fuck me. I don't go out and do things outside of the pink, outside of the club, outside of that is not me. I have respect for myself. You may not think, you know, you ain't nothing special. I am special, motherfucker. I am Keyshawn. Like, and you can't tell me no different. I love that she stuck up for herself. And like, my heart was like on 10 because I was like, if she gets assaulted in the worst way, I just can't take it. I just could not take it. I was like, oh, please. Once again, I'm yelling, Keyshawn, run, bitch, run. Like, please get out of this. And when she attacks him and get out, I was like, yes, if we could just do that same shit to Derrick, we could get somewhere. I was so glad that he was not successful in his assault. And I was even more glad that he didn't get up and chase her down that fucking hallway. I just loved the way they executed the scene and just how vulnerable and exposed she was. I was like, oh, yes, Woddy, cover her up. I was like, oh. oh Lord, I was just so thankful at that moment that he was there, and he was like, he did what? And it's just like, even Woddy was like, hey, you are not stupid. You have never been stupid. You may be a little naive, but you're not stupid. Like, yes, Woddy. Once again, Woddy, when did your voice get all deep? Hey, Woddy. But I love it. He was like, yeah, like, he knows everything. Like, what you mean everything? He knows about Big T and Lil Murder and the whole escapade that we got last episode. Just like, oh yeah? And I was like, uh-oh. I didn't know where we were going. When we have Keyshawn return home and Derrick is overly nice and he has been beating on them kids. First of all, TV gonna always TV. Any other doctor, somebody would have took them kids and Keyshawn would be crying somewhere because her kids would be in CPS custody and she would have got investigated. Because I was so through at this point because I thought, like, after the journey that we had been on with Keyshawn, I thought we were building her up to go somewhere. They really made us sympathize with Keyshawn and really see where she's coming from in her background as to why she is this way and why she chose Derrick in the first place. But I seriously thought, as a mom, that was going to be her last straw. And once she saw that baby's bruised back and that dislocated arm, that she was gonna go in there and get the strap. I thought she was gonna go in there and fuck Derrick up, honestly. But when she went in there with papers and explained this, I was like, what? What? Ain't nothing to it. Bitch, shoot him. Like, there's nothing to explain. She's like, how could you do this? He's only 3. It's like, you were gone for 2 weeks. Like, what? A whole 2 weeks. God forbid you spend 2 weeks with your children. Like, I expected a whole different result. But to see, trauma on top of trauma, we had already had her, getting choked while pregnant. We had the whole slime ass scene with Rome. And then we get here and she's being beat to freaking pulp and threatened with the iron, the whole penny good times moment, any rub on my face. I was like, get out of there. I expected something different. And in that moment, I was like, if Keyshawn doesn't get out of there soon, I'm expecting us to say bye to Keyshawn this season. Like, she has to uplift herself. And I did, recognize at the end of the episode via Uncle Clifford's narration, sometimes, damsels in distress can be their own savior. I was like, please save yourself. Please save yourself. I know that she doesn't have anyone, but I was like, in this whole time, these whole 3 years, I'm like, really, it's just been 3 years. But Keyshawn has been the breadwinner. Just like she said, up and down talking smack. I'm going to take care of my 3 kids. Derrick, I was like, don't come up with the... Clearly this nigga is unhinged. Don't do that unless you get the strap. You were supposed to have a gat on deck. You were supposed to have Woddy outside waiting. Like, I just expected something else. I didn't expect her to go and expect anything from Derrick. What exactly did you think he was going to give you? Except for, bitch, I'll discipline my kids however I want. Like, oh, it was such a bad scene and she just seemed so broken. Save yourself, Keyshawn. Get out of there. Then we get into Woddy at the end of the episode. Child, I was like, I did not know Woddy was capable of this. They have solely depicted Woddy as, the safe one, peace be still. I'm a vegan. I'm trying to, namaste, girl. We won't need all that violence. Separate baby black love. I was like, no the fuck. Absolutely not. I completely forgot that Lil Murder comes from the funeral, burial, embalming background. He sees death and is surrounded by it 24/7. He gets bodies ready. This was nothing to him. Like, I'm surrounded by death all the time. Taking this nigga out was nothing, and he showed it in this episode. The way he finessed walking in, dressed in all black. And I love how Cliff was, so all night stone. Those are fairy tales. What you thought Derrick was, that's a whole fairy tale. Derrick is really this, and even the reference from their first argument is just like, you're gonna be better than your dad. You're not your dad. Like, no, he is. Get the fuck out of there. Like, she's expecting him to turn into that prince again, and he was never a prince. But Woddy, on the other hand, a black knight in the making. Like, I did not expect that from Woddy at all. Like, he rolled up with fentanyl real hard. I love how he just sneaked like Like, yeah, if you weren't sniffing coke all the time, Rome, you would have saw that he sniffed the other lines. But he takes his ass so night night, nigga. We go night night. Everybody go night night, nigga. Like, lay your ass down. Like, I was so fucking surprised. I was like, well, goddamn. Who you gonna call? Call Woddy, because he's with the shits. Well, you guys, that was my review for P-Valley Season 2, Episode 5, White Knight. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop down and tell me what you thought about this episode. This was a very different yet interesting episode. I love that the show, takes risks. It's kind of getting into the realm like we don't know what to expect. I never thought that they would go the fairy tale route and give us any, backstory on Keyshawn. I really enjoyed it. Drop down and tell me what you thought about it. Did you like it? Did you like what is happening here? Why are we here? Where's Mercedes? Where did you care? I look forward to reading you guys' comments. I see you next time. Bye.